We all know Cam has taken some vicious hits, including yesterday against the Cardinals. So let's take a little walk down nightmare lane here. Remember this, week one, the Broncos were all over the reigning MVP. The hits kept coming, but only one flag for an illegal hit on Cam. But after the game, 2 Broncos were fined. Week 4 in the Georgia Dome, Cam got hit in the end zone by the Falcons, which caused a concussion. He was forced to miss the next game against the Bucs. And this Sunday, no fouls called when Cam was blatantly hit below the knees, and he's not happy with the way he's being treated.
It's really taking the fun out of the game for me, honestly. It really is, because at times I don't even feel safe, right? And enough is enough. You know, I plan on talking to Commissioner Goodell about this, but it's not fun. And I don't know what I have to do. When you constantly see the hits, when you constantly see flags being picked up, when you're constantly seeing flags not being thrown, and to see other quarterbacks getting it, lesser hits, lesser physical hits, then it's taking the fun for me out. I'm just being honest with that. I showed a lot of frustration today, and I apologize to the referee, you know, who I was talking to, but I don't think it's a person that can go through what I go through and still keep their head, you know what I'm saying? And hits to the head, that's one thing, but when you're not protected in the pocket, that's another thing. And the story of my life ever since I came in is just, well, we missed that one. I'm sorry, I try to get it. That's bullcrap. That's bullcrap.
All right, so there's that. Donovan McNabb still with us. You know a little something about running quarterbacks. I was going to go to you first, but Stephen A., you wanted to mention something
Yeah,
first.
no, I want to go first.
Okay.
I want to go first on this because we got to respond to what Cam Newton had to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me say this. I'm a fan of Cam Newton. I think he's a superstar. And I think that he's a good young brother and an incredible face for the NFL. And he and I have talked in the past, and I've grown very, very fond of him even more so. This is dicey for me. Because Donovan, and I'm going to talk to you, not that I'm ignoring you, Max, but he played quarterback, so I got to go here. On one hand, I've seen several plays. Calais Campbell should have been flagged yesterday.
Absolutely.
Without question. Nobody's debating that. Brandon Marshall, I believe, with that headshot when he launched into him, a season opener in Denver. That should have been called. No doubt about that. But I was uncomfortable with some of the things that Cam had to say yesterday. Number one, the game ain't fun for you anymore.
Yeah.
Is it really because of the hits, or is it because you're 2-5? And the team has been losing this year and not winning. Because when you were winning, I saw you get hit last year, but I still saw you dabbing and partying on the field, and everybody was like, damn, Cab, damn, dab. Well, that was cool when you were winning. Now you losing, it's a different problem. Right. Number two, you talk about officials, human error. I called the NFL office this morning. I've called the Players Association over the last several weeks because there's been several issues in regards to officiating. The cats that I know in both, in both offices. And the rules, I mean, these officials are evaluated, all the daggone time.
Right.
Their jobs are on the line, and we all know they ain't trying to mess up, even though it's part-time jobs, because none of them are full-time per se. We all know they ain't trying to mess up being a part of this league. So we got to take that into consideration, Cam. And then we got to think about this, because I got some numbers here, and we're talking about roughness penalties called since 2013. Now, this is public information. You can go since 2013. Dudes who have had more calls missed against them. We got Drew Brees at 14, Flacco at 11, Matt Ryan at 11, Carson Palmer at 10, Cam's at 9. So what I'm saying is, when you look at it from that perspective, let's be clear. Even though there's calls that have been missed against him, there have been calls that have been missed against other quarterbacks. I don't see them up there on the podium at the press conference complaining. And by the way, they don't have running plays called for them, power running plays. And so when you look at it from that perspective, and the kind of stuff that Ron Rivera and Shula and that coaching staff are exposing you to, I'm not saying that he don't get calls, because obviously he's had 9 calls missed against him since 2013. He's 5th on the list. I'm simply saying, come on, bro. Are you sure it was wise to go that route?
I think he misspoke in a lot of ways, and one being I'm not having fun anymore. The other part of it, I totally agree with. Now, you mentioned something that kind of adds into my point.
Okay.
A lot of those quarterbacks that you mentioned don't have running plays that are called for them, but that's not the part that Cam is talking about. Now, when you're running downfield, yeah, you have to protect yourself because there's no DB, no safety that's going to hit Cam up high, so they're going to go low. But in the pocket, Cam has to be looked upon as a Tom Brady, as a Drew Brees, as a Peyton Manning while he was playing. He is the face of the NFL. He's the former MVP. So that should lead to a little bit of the referees being a little cautious watching Cam take hits. Now, over the years since he's played, because I played the position and I've been in that situation, and I've complained. I've complained because there are a lot of times referees get caught up in watching the actual play instead of watching what's going on around you. Now, I've been hit in the ear, I've been hit in the back of the head, I've been hit in the back of the legs. I've gotten one point where I've got hit right directly on my knee and turn around and look at the ref, and he helped me up. No, I don't need you to help me up. I need the flag thrown because the term of the new rule, the rule that's been for the last couple of years is the Tom Brady rule. And it only happened because Tom was put out of a game because he got hit in his knee by Bernard Pollard.
Yep.
And so for all quarterbacks, you think you at least protected in the sense of being in the pocket from getting hit low and now hit high. Let alone, the only reason we're talking about this situation is because of Cam. It's not because of Carson Palmer, Drew Brees, all the quarterbacks that you mentioned. It's because of what happened in game 1 in Denver when there were a lot of missed calls made, and there were also a lot of ones that were called, and we're asking ourselves, how can this happen to Cam Newton? It's never happened to Peyton. It's never happened to Tom. So in a sense for me, I get upset because I'm tired of hearing, well, he's a big guy. Well, what does that have to do? What's the difference between Cam and a Doug Flutie that's playing the quarterback position? They're both under center, they're in the shotgun, and they're throwing from the pocket. So let's not get caught up so much in the whole sense of, well, Cam Newton's a running quarterback. I don't care if you're running or sitting. If you get hit in the ear hole or you get hit in the chin, throw the flag. That was blatant that happened with Calais Campbell, and the referee did nothing. That bothers me now because I knew I went through it, and Doug Flutie and those guys went through it, before me. So let's make a change now before it becomes a serious problem.
I'll come back to it. Go ahead,
The question is, do you agree with Cam? I do agree with Cam. I agree with the content of what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's hit too much. Now, whether there are 9 other guys who get hit more than him, 10 other guys, 11 other guys who get hit more than him, I don't know. My eyeballs don't tell me that, but let's take that for granted. You make a good point. It's not just that he gets hit more than your average quarterback. It's that why isn't he getting, it should be going in the other direction.
Right.
Why isn't he getting face of the league kind of treatment? Although I would point out that a couple years ago, it sure seemed to me that Ben Roethlisberger wasn't getting a lot of calls precisely because he's a big, strong guy and he got hit a lot. And it's that Shaq thing where I think somewhere in the back of the refs' minds, they think, well, how else are you going to bring this guy down? That's one. 2, listen, he's been hit since he's been in the league 200 times more than any other quarterback. Think about that.
Wow.
But in the pocket, it's only been like he's 3rd on the list.
Yeah.
Then when you add all the running plays, which is part of his game, he shoots up past everyone else. When he stands up there, and this is the issue I have with Cam, not with what he's saying, there's something about the way he presents it that feels disingenuous to me. That's okay. A lot of coaches and players put stuff out there. Maybe they will get a call on a borderline call. Maybe it'll help them. But when he sits up there and goes, it's not fun anymore. The game has no obligation to be fun for Cam Newton. If he can play it at a high level and have fun, a lot of times out of the pocket, whatever, running plays, and have fun, power to him. But it may not always be fun, and the game doesn't have any obligation to be fun for him. It's as though he wants the game to bend to his, the game of football to kind of bend to his brand of football.
He could have gone with that
That's
fun
what
part
I said.
for
He
sure.
should have left the fun part out because I think that's something that people focus on.
And then it becomes the trigger word.
Yeah, he's
for
not
sure.
having
I agree
fun.
with that.
And then they go, well, it's not about
But-
Cam.
yeah.
I
But
agree.
everything he said was right on.
I agree with that. But let's get back to what you're saying about everything he said. Look, obviously I got mad respect for your knowledge as a quarterback because of how great you played the position. And I'm not saying that you're wrong about some of those hits. I've seen plenty of hits that I thought guys should have been flagged for hitting Cam.
Right.
I'm not denying that. But Cam came across like this special treatment that he's not accorded, that others are accorded. I just gave you facts. In terms of roughing the passer penalties, and in fairness to Cam Newton, what he said here, you got to remember, week one, that wasn't Brandon Marshall, by the way, that was Darian Stewart for the Broncos that hit him, and, you know, and that was offset.
Brandon Marshall hit him on the sideline.
Yeah, Brandon Marshall hit him on the sideline.
Right.
Darian Stewart hit him in the pocket.
And then Marshall, the linebacker.
And that was nullified. And that was nullified by the intentional grounding call.
Right.
So basically, he hasn't had a rougher passer penalty called against somebody because of him since 2014. Okay, that sounds very alarming as much as we see Cam Newton getting hit.
Right.
But the flip side is, it's something to be said about the way you play. It's something to be said about quarterback posturing. It's something to be said about being in that pocket, because I asked guys, what exactly qualifies as the pocket? And I was going to ask you this, but somebody told me earlier, it's being there, you know, beyond center, guard, tackle. Outside of that, when you're outside of back. All right, go ahead. Because that's what they're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
I disagree with that because that's behind the line of scrimmage. If I'm moving around in the pocket, because Aaron Rodgers is doing that, he's moving back behind the line of scrimmage. If I set up to throw and you ear hold me, that should be a flag. I'm behind the line of scrimmage. And you can throw from behind the line of scrimmage as long as you have something behind. If you have an arm, a leg,
but I'm not challenging that. What I'm asking you is what you believe it should be. Is that what the NFL says it is?
The NFL, what they're saying basically to the public is if you're inside the cup. If you're inside that cup, you're inside the pocket. But we have to understand that 65% of the quarterbacks in this league will move beyond the line of
You're
scrimmage.
saying if you qualify to throw a forward lateral,
yes,
in that case you are a quarterback and not a runner.
Exactly.
I think that's in practice actually what it seems to be to most fans and most in the media.
Well, they're not calling that. Because if I throw a screen pass to Julian Edelman behind the line of scrimmage and he throws a touchdown pass to Amendola, if he gets ear hold or gets hit in the helmet, that's a helmet to helmet, no matter how you look at it. If you're throwing a pass behind the line of scrimmage, you're a passer, a quarterback. Throw the flag.
All right.
Let's leave it there. Donovan, appreciate it.
Oh, thank you
Always
for
good to
having
see
me.
you. We'll see you next week, hopefully.
Good job on the radio show, too. I've been listening.
Thank you.
Yes.
I've been listening.
10 p.m. Eastern,
Sure,
you know, the 1 a.m.
That's right.
You know,
I need to drop
McNabb
one of your
Custom.
gems
Check
a
us
little
out.
later.
I've been listening.
Channel 80.
We all know Cam has taken some vicious hits, including yesterday against the Cardinals. So let's take a little walk down Nightmare Lane here. Remember this, week one, the Broncos were all over the reigning MVP. The hits kept coming, but only one flag for an illegal hit on Cam. But after the game, 2 Broncos were fined. Week 4 in the Georgia Dome, Cam got hit in the end zone by the Falcons, which caused a concussion. He was forced to miss the next game against the Bucs. And this Sunday, no fouls called when Cam was blatantly hit below the knees, and he's not happy with the way he's being treated.
It's really taking the fun out of the game for me, honestly.